Hello and welcome to the Rangers Journal. My name is Kai Watson and today I'm going to take a look at Rangers' new lead international scout, Anthony Galinski. Galinski was announced last week, obviously as a new lead international scout. I think based off the last few weeks, particularly last night and Sunday, it's really obvious that the scouting and recruitment department are going to have a massive job in their hands this summer. So I thought with Galinski just coming in, we would look at what he's done previously, kind of players and regions that he's scouted and see what we can maybe expect from him when it comes to this summer. Just looking at him personally, Galinski's a 26-year-old Belgian. Started in the sporting department at Sports Plus Football Management. He was there for a couple of years. He's a licensed sports manager. Then he moved to Antwerp to be the first team international scout, and he spent 2 years and 4 months there. During his spell at Antwerp, the club managed to win the Pro League, the Belgian Cup, and the Belgian Super Cup, so they went through their best spell in recent years. Obviously, not saying this is all down to Galinski, but he did bring in a couple of players that really helped them out. And that spell got him the move to Rangers as a new lead international scout. So let's look at a couple of players that he brought in during his spell at Antwerp. So he'd obviously went to Antwerp in the January, and by the end of the month he'd signed William Pacho from Independiente del Valle. Signed him for 4.76 million, and 18 months later he was sold for 7.69 million to Frankfurt, and now, according to transfer market's value, he's now worth 25.6 million. Pacho's a player Rangers were actually linked to in the January before he'd moved to Frankfurt in the summer. Rangers unfortunately didn't have the funds at the time. But moving to Antwerp allowed him to develop, and he's now a regular for Ecuador. And like I said, now looking to be valued at 25 million. And the likes of Arsenal, Inter, and I'm sure Real have all been linked to him. And he's exactly what Rangers could currently be using. He's left-footed centre back. He's strong, powerful, good on the ball, the type of player Rangers really need. So it's encouraging that he's able to spot these type of talents, especially he spotted them as a 20-year-old, obviously playing in Ecuador. So it's a good sign that he can identify these talents, he can bring them in. Antwerp obviously didn't make too much profit on him. They still made over 3 million, or just under 3 million profit. But the fact he's now valued at just over 25 million, and I think the fees are talking about are between 40 and 50, kind of the big clubs I mentioned earlier. So if he goes for anywhere near that, it's clear that he can identify a player that can kind of go at the top level. So that's obviously very encouraging from a Rangers standpoint. Another player identified, again as another left-footed centre-back, is Gaston Avila. He was signed for 3.76 million as a 20-year-old from Boca, and a year later they managed to sell him for 10.68 million to Ajax. Unfortunately for Avila, it's not worked out as well for him as it has for Pacho's move. Avila is now only valued at 4.27 million. He's not had a lot of game time at Ajax this season. Not really sure what the situation is there, but he's still really impressed for Antwerp to the point Ajax were obviously willing to pay over 10 million for him. Again, it identifies that Galinski can see a player. Left-footed centre-backs are really hard to come by, so the fact that he's managed to find two really quality young left-footed centre-backs in the same region, I think it says a lot for his ability to kind of identify talent, and that, again, can only be good for Rangers going into the summer. It's not even just the fact that they're left-footed centre-backs, they're left-footed centre-backs that are strong defensively, very modern day. They're good at driving out with the ball, good passers. Again, it's exactly what Rangers need this summer. The only left-footed centre back the club currently has is Ben Davis, who's been nowhere near the first team. Don't know what the situation is there, but you would imagine he would look to be moved on in the summer, and Rangers would be looking for someone to fill that gap. And as much as it's not a necessity to have a left footer on the left side, obviously adds that bit of balance to the team. So the fact that Galinski's identified two quality players in that area, again, great signs for us going into the summer transfer window. Another player identified again from Independiente del Valle in Ecuador was Anthony Valencia. It's a left-footed right winger, only 19 years old. He struggled with injury since he got to Antwerp. So he missed 29 games this season, 23 games last season. This season it was a fibula injury, and I'm sure it was a thigh injury last season. So he's not had a lot of game time, but as soon as he was fit and available this season, he was straight back into the team, coming on against Club Brugge recently. And he's a very promising player. He's direct, loves attacking, loves dribbling. He's direct, loves cutting inside. Again, the type of winger Rangers could really be doing with right now. It's honestly an absolute testament to Galinski that he can spot these players. We obviously don't know how Valencia is going to end up career-wise. It might not work out at Antwerp, but he does look really promising when he's on the pitch. He was trusted in Champions League games coming off the bench this season, so I think building up his fitness and getting into next season, he could be a huge player for Antwerp. There may be other players Galinski's identified, but I just looked at these three, particularly being from South America, just as him being the first team international scout. International could obviously mean any country out with your own, but I looked at it as being a bit more broad than that. So looking at South America, I'd imagine he looked at kind of like Asian regions and North America as well. So just looking at those regions, I would kind of see that as international scout. Again, I could be way off with that, and it could just be looking at any nations out with the nation that the club is in. But again, just looking at that record from those three players, it's encouraging that he scouted the region so well. Again, Valencia might not work out, but he's still a promising player that's been brought in. He's been very unlucky with injury. Clearly has a good eye for a player, especially a good centre back, and left footed centre back being all the better. Good profit record on obviously Pacho and Avia. Pacho is obviously worth a lot more than what they sold him for, but I would assume that fee was maybe down to a release clause. Not 100% sure on the reason why they didn't manage to get as much for him as they did for Avia. To say, looking at both of them, Pacho was clearly the better player, because obviously it's worked out in his favour now. It's easy saying that in hindsight, but I think looking at the two of them at Antwerp and when they came in, I think it was obvious that Pacho was the better player, so I would assume his sell on was maybe due to a release clause. And it'll just be interesting to see if Rangers recruit players from South America in the summer. A lot of quality is being added to the Rangers squad this summer, and no one's really sure the budget we have to do it, so we're going to have to look for bargains. So we might have to go into regions like South America and look for the type of deals that Galinski's done in the past. It's encouraging that he's done it before, but obviously we need to see him do it at Rangers. It's the most imperative thing that he does it now. It doesn't matter looking at his track record and how good it is if he doesn't manage to do it for our club. So thank you for watching. I hope this was a decent little quick insight into Anthony Galinski and some of his history. If you enjoy the content, please like and subscribe. There's going to be more content coming today, maybe the second episode of Scotty's Football Manager series. So if you've liked it again, please share, please like it. It really helps the algorithm. Thank you so much and have a great day.